turned it down too low. Let me see here. Too slow, rather. Am I going to use this as a reference? Like I said, this one does not have to be perfect, though of course it would be smart to look for perfect. I have no intention of using this as my final subject. Just the fact that it's hard to find references on it is enough. It isn't. I just missed them at first. Why juries must agree. This actually tells me who it's by. It it works, and it actually would work for real as well. It's not just I'm choosing it. Let me see here. And I only need one reference. One. One reference. Wait a minute. Where did it say that those were? Hmm. Convictions. Or is it? In the extended state courts as a result, Oregon and Louisiana. Hmm. Sure, they have a greater number of convictions over the others. They probably have a greater number of people brought into court because it doesn't produce the hesitancy that would normally be there in arresting someone because you don't have enough evidence for a conviction. So they leave it be. There's an assumption there that if they would arrest you, there's probably something you did wrong. One should consciously resist that because it's ridiculous. People in those positions are just as capable of committing crimes as anyone else. Do not think that police officers or whoever are incapable of it. They're people just like anyone else. It can happen. Hopefully, it's less likely to, but it can happen. And of course, like the statement goes, I don't remember it exactly, but never rely on, what is it, belligerence or meaningful error when incompetence will do. It could be an honest mistake or a semi-honest mistake. By that I mean they really should have looked closer and found the things that would have made them wonder about it, but they didn't bother. They stopped when they were sure. Never mistake confidence for proof. All confidence really is honesty from the speaker's point of view. So, finding another reference. I'm looking here. Convictions. Supreme Court to consider revisiting non-unanimous jury. That's interesting. These juries for criminal conviction. Supreme Court. Guilty by 10 to 2 vote. Deficient or unconstitutional. Supreme Court addressed the is flawed. Of course it's flawed. The racist roots of Louisiana majority verdict law. That's interesting. Let me put this here. Who is this? Alan Bean, Friends of Justice. Who is Alan Bean? again. Who is the fact of the matter is, they got this person convicted when two people who were there, who saw the whole thing, who witnessed everything, who, in the court, I mean, they said no, and yet it was done anyway. That is what it amounts to. It's just as much the two that said no as the 10 that said yes. Both things actually did happen. And it's the government doing it. So really, it's an absolute. It's like there's no real grounds for any other thought on the subject. It's do or die. Basically, it always amounts to that with laws. It's as strong as whatever would back it up, and that's the people holding guns. What is this? This doesn't look, it's fine, but it's not something I can use. It's well done and all. I'll probably come back here and look at it. But I get the feeling it probably wouldn't fly. Of course, I could still use it, but only in the concept of using something I think will fail. So, I'm not going to, not that one. If I could find out who he is, then I might be able to use it. But I'm thinking, no. Let me look for his name elsewhere. No, it's not him. Pretty sure it's not. And if someone like that has the same name, there's no point looking. Because it's going to be him that I come up with all the time, just about. So I can't really use this one. Or rather, I don't have the confidence to use it right now. Where's Supreme Court address? Louisiana's flawed jury. Wait a minute. Did I do that? I'm just looking general web. Let me look in the news. Wow. First, they focus only on convictions. That looks like something. Corruption, that would be exactly what I'm talking about. Washington Post. Corruption in states like Mississippi and Louisiana. Distort spending. But it doesn't seem to be talking about convictions. Wait a minute. Of course, in different regions have. You know, I think I will listen to this. It's a bit long. That gives me pause. But I think I'll listen to it anyway. Make sure I don't confuse it. I'll make yet another space. Okay. Anything like that I can see real easily. That would throw off the audio. No. It seems fine. Putting it at the top or putting it at the bottom are the same difference.
States where corruption is highest, looking at you Mississippi, appear to spend more, and in different ways than states where it is not, according to a new study. The most corrupt states, Mississippi, Louisiana, or Tennessee are the worst, tend to spend more on construction, highways, and salaries and wages than on social goods, such as education and health spending. John L. Nicosell of Indiana University, Bloomington, and Xiao Liu of the City University of Hong Kong find in a new paper published this month in a public administration journal. On average, they found, 9 of the 10 most corrupt states could have saved $1,308 per capita, if they could only have kept corruption closer to the national average. Here is how they came to that conclusion. To figure out how and whether corruption affected state spending, they first needed a solid, consistent measure of corruption itself. They found that in the Department of Justice's Public Integrity section, which maintains annual numbers of public official convictions by state. Nicosell and Liu focused on 50 state statistics from 1997 through 2008, which covers more than 25,000 convictions. There were 2 concerns they sought to address. First, they focused only on convictions that resulted from violations of federal corruption laws. State and local laws can vary in strictness and scope, and might thereby account for differences in conviction counts. Federal law, on the other hand, is uniform across states. Second, they had to account for differences in resources. Prosecutors and courts in different regions have different caseloads and work schedules, which might affect how many convictions they can secure. After controlling for factors such as work hours, judges per citizen, and case spending rates, the researchers found that resources didn't have an impact on the corruption conviction rate. In other words, the Justice Department test statistics provide a valid and consistent yardstick for corruption.
Okay. And that shows that what happens when you don't change this out. It looks at the S as a separate thing. But this is not what I'm looking for, so I'll stop that as well. Interesting subject, but it's not talking about what I'm looking for. Okay. Oregon and Louisiana convictions. 8th, 11th most corrupt state in the country. Wow. Now, I've never have looked for corruption in states before. That'd be an interesting thing to look for. California failing. Okay, this is sort of a showing of how to find this. I could actually stop now. But someone else may want to know what to do when you're in a spot like this. I guess I might as well finish. Okay. Delete all that. I only need one more reference for why juries must agree. Okay. So why not look for why juries must agree? That isn't the actual thing I need to find, but it does work. You know, come to think of it, I just realized something. That Supreme Court case, if I can find that, that itself is a very good reference. Funny. If only I could find that. I don't think it goes back that far, but there is the ability to find Supreme Court judgments. Let me see. Supreme Court.gov. Okay, the actual Supreme Court decisions, recent decisions. I don't think they have an archive of all their decisions. That would be great. Because these decisions aren't just yes, no, and what it was about. Each judge actually puts their own wording on their comment. Let's see, merits, bar. Yeah, no, not rulings. I mean rules. I'm looking for rulings. Opinions. No, I know because I've been here before that they do that. So I'm still looking. Hmm. Recent ones. Where's the older stuff? This is Supreme Court. I should be able to look back in the 1800s. Still the same court. They haven't changed. It's the same one all this time. Hopefully they do that more. Council. All this stuff is effectively public domain, the oral stuff from the courts and such. So playing it here shouldn't be a problem. But this is not what I'm looking for. Supreme Court, visitors. That's not it. Let me see.
We'll hear argument first this morning in Case 12-842, the Republic of Argentina versus NML Capital Limited. Mr. Blackman?
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the Court, the sweeping worldwide forensic examination of foreign state property that the Court of Appeals approved targets sovereign property that the FSIA makes categorically immune from process of U.S. courts, including diplomatic, military property, national security assets, property of the state's current and former presidents, and other property outside the United States. This far exceeds the enforcement powers of U.S. courts under the FSIA.
Aren't those issues of privilege? And didn't the court below permit you to raise those questions as individual items came up, as individual accounts? Because the subpoena is only asking Bank of America or the banks for their information. Some of them may be of that nature. But wasn't the district court going to monitor that?
Well, two answers to your question. First, Justice Sotomayor, the FSIA comes logically and legally before issues of privilege as to a specific asset. There's a categorical limitation of execution and all process in aid of execution to property in the United States used for commercial activities.
That's on what you can execute. The FSIA itself doesn't say anything about discovery.
The FSIA doesn't have a provision except for 1605G which specifically talks about discovery, but the statute very much delineates the bounds of permissible discovery when it delineates the universe of executable property. The legislative...
In an ordinary state case, let's say, you get a judgment in New York, and the judgment is not satisfied, and so there is this kind of an inquiry into what property the losing defendant owns. Cannot you find out what property that defendant owns in Florida?
In Florida, certainly yes.
But the New York court has, its writ does not run to Florida.
The way rules...
You have to bring another lawsuit in Florida, right? And so also here, the writ of the Second Circuit doesn't run to France. You may have to bring a separate suit in France, but I don't see that it goes beyond the bounds of what the law allows the discovery to cover.
Well, Rule 69, which has never been construed in the area of discovery in aid of execution by this court, provides for discovery in aid of execution. And in aid of execution logically needs to mean the execution that could be ordered by the court ordering the discovery.
But that's absolutely not true, because a New York court cannot order execution on property in Florida. You have to bring another cause of action in Florida, and yet you certainly can find out what property the deadbeat defendant owns in Florida.
Rule 69 also says specifically, Justice Scalia, that it is subject to a federal statute that governs where applicable, and the advisory committee notes clearly list a whole host of exemption statutes.
You're saying that you can't inquire into property that would be exempt anywhere. That's the difference. You may have to bring a separate suit in Florida, or probably if it's a federal judgment, you just register it then. But in the typical case, the judgment debtor is exposed, all of our assets are exposed. Here, I think what you're saying is the statute, the Foreign Sovereign Immunity Act, confines what can be executed, whether Florida, France, any place. It's got to be property, commercial property in the United States.
That's exactly correct, Justice Ginsburg, and I was referring to the exemptions that are listed in the advisory committee notes because they list things like homestead and veterans benefits and other categories of assets.
What's the reason? I mean, I read this.
Trying to find a good place to stop it, but they keep interrupting. Okay, I'll stop that for now. You can always go back to the same spot and hear it if you like. At least as long as it's there. That was just the recent ones, I think. Let me see here. Well, it looks like I'm not going to find what I'm looking for here because it's only showing recent stuff. It doesn't seem to be an archive. I don't think this is going to work, but I'll try it anyway. Archive.net. Wrong one. Wrong one. Maybe it's org. Let me see here. Yes, that's it. Yep. They wouldn't go back that far though. That was back in the 70s. But let me see if they're even on it. There are many things with the internet. I could look at news on this. Let me see. News on conviction. Arraignment. Conviction. Oh, something like being convicted. Okay. Okay. Democracy Now. Court conviction agreement. This place actually archives the internet. It really is what it seems to be. Different websites can be archived years ago. Of course, if they didn't archive it back then, they don't have it now. But it's meant to save whole websites. More or less. All the links don't necessarily work. Nope, not going to find it within reasonable effort here. I'll do something probably oftentimes do. Let me see, easy court convictions. Justice makes it easier for inmates to challenge conviction. Justices make it easier. Let me see. It should definitely be easier if you weren't convicted unanimously. Come on. Divided court. And two rulings make it easier for to challenge criminal convictions. That seemed likely to help the prisoner whose case was under review. That's annoying. But the exception is announced. What is the exception? Confined category. Person who brought it there wasn't benefited by it. But thanks anyway, I guess is the idea. Now, if it was saying it was overturned because they were convicted on 10-2, then that would definitely work. But I think I'm being a little too strict on this. Let me finish doing what I was thinking to do, which is look for video. I'm just not looking for just anyone's video. I'm looking for a source. There may be a documentary or something about the subject. That's weird. Man dies in court after taking pill. Court. If only I knew the name of that decision. Of that case. Funny that I only just think of that. I'm looking for the name of the case, so why not look for the name of the case? Case which established no. Case, what is it? It's a bit much. It's too distracting. Case was made case which allows less than unanimous, forget it, unanimous convictions. Jury size and I'm like, how did they get that law passed? What was the thinking involved in changing something like that? I guess it made sense to them on some level, or they would not have done it. Let's see here. Unanimous juries for criminal conviction. Supreme Court declines case. Declines to take up a case challenging the right of states to permit non-unanimous verdicts. Critics say verdicts reached by a divided court. Juries violate the Sixth Amendment. Yeah, problem with the Sixth Amendment is that's the amendment between the federal government and the citizens. One could say it wasn't talking to them. Bad, but true. State is like, well, that was my action, not yours. Bit much. Technically, it doesn't cover it. Now, I need to send this in, so I need to find myself another one. Why? Because I waited till the last day. It needs to be in today by 6 p.m. That's what? 2 hours and something. 2 hours and something is more than enough to find a single reference. I think I may have just found it. How much do you know about the U.S. Constitution? Lawyers trying to take up their case. About the jury. Jim Crow. Thought. And I can see how that would work, how it would be that. If they have to have different ones, most of your court is something, and then the other is something else, and you basically can effectively completely neutralize them if there's only one or two there, if they don't have to agree for it to happen. It doesn't matter as long as no one thinks that way, but if you're in a state where that's very there, that fact should be considered. That would be a way of completely eliminating it. They can be there in that jury, but it doesn't matter because we don't really need their permission. We don't really need their agreement. We can do whatever we can well please. They're there, but they're effectively just taking up space. That can be the effect of it. But now let me see here. The root cause of these failures of Louisiana's embrace of non-unanimous verdicts, a practice that stultifies. I don't think I've ever heard that word before. The time-honored method of ensuring careful review of the prosecution's case in the jury room. Actually, this actually makes it less likely to even bring the person to court if it had to be unanimous. So you can more quickly bring someone to court who looks less, how should we say, less like most of the people who are going to be in the jury. Not because they might consciously think that way. True prejudice is honest. It isn't consciously thinking that way. It is just the way they perceive it. They can't help but see it that way, just like you can't help but see green as green. Well, maybe not that as strong, but the same idea. You simply see the world through the eyes that you have to use for it. Never mistake competence for proof. Competence holds no allegiance to proof whatsoever. Now, it feels exactly the same, right or wrong, that is. Officials in Louisiana deny that the non-unanimous jury system perpetuates racist policies of shoddy justice. So they're saying that 10-2 is just as good as 100%. Or are they saying it wasn't a conscious effort? Seems like they're saying one or the other, both of which are a little ridiculous. It doesn't have to be a conscious effort. If it's true prejudice, or if it's true racism, it is going to be honest. Now, where am I at? Petitioners ask this court to reverse a matter settled by the court 40 years ago and a settled matter of state law for over 100 years. You know, in this case, since the country has made such a big change over the last 40 years, saying that long ago isn't really that helpful. Think about what things were 40 years ago, what things were 100 years ago. I mean, that's stated as if it was meant to say, well, this is already settled. There are a lot of things that were already settled 100 years ago or 40 years ago. Doesn't mean it shouldn't be relooked at. And if that other thing 40 years ago was talking about only federal things and not state things, they didn't bring it up. That's the thing in court systems. They either do or they don't bring it up. There's no such thing as close enough. Now, where was I? 20 years ago, Assistant District Attorney for Jefferson Parish, whatever, who wrote his brief to the court. The issue arose in the case who was convicted of shooting as a 16. The crime scene was crowded and confused. Conflicting testimony about who the shooter was or might have been. Prosecutors charged so-and-so, put him on trial for second-degree murder, and a jury voted 10-2 to convict, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole on a 10-2 verdict. They should at least have lesser sentences for these cases. They treat it completely like it's the same thing. Supreme Court ruled that the Constitution does not bar states from adopting less than a unanimous majority. The 9 justices split 4-4 on the issue. I hate it with these divisions. They should make constitutional amendments for things like that. Broke the tie, sending the justice support non-unanimous. That is so barely that it's not worth considering. But the thing is, the buck stopped there with the court. It would take Congress to start an amendment to the Constitution. There's no such thing as an unconstitutional constitutional amendment. It is equal to every article already in it. It can't be ruled out. So, of course, carefulness involved in that. See, the Sixth Amendment provides for the rights. You know, I am going to use this as a reference, because regardless, it's there. Another thing it says, I could use it as a reference saying that such a possibility already exists on a state level. Definitely works for that. So I'm done. All I need to do now is put the names and such as here. Okay, first save it. Now, Sixth Amendment. I should look that up sometime. Actually, I'll look at in U.S. Constitution. That'll work for this. Let's see, 4th, 5th, 6th. It's the rights of a fair and speedy public trial by jury, including the rights to be notified of the accusations, to confront the accuser, to obtain witnesses, and to retain counsel. It doesn't say anything about unanimous decisions. But if it doesn't, they should add that, because it's ridiculous. He actually says 100 years, like that's supposed to be some type of reason for keeping it. We'd have all sorts of things that went by time. Well, 200 years this country has done such and such, and you want to change it now. Problem with that, it's like saying, I've been thinking this for 40 years, and you're going to tell me otherwise now. Well, how old are you? 45. So you're basically a 40-year-old being led by the nose by a 5-year-old. Even though it's still you, it's still a 5-year-old. Personally, I only give a year per each decade on that one. So I might say a 9-year-old. Now, where was I? Should let the adult version of yourself have a go at it. That's what I would say to that. Now, make sure I don't lose this. This. That. And save. By. I'll just type that. That looks like it's hard. Okay, and the first name is just R. Warren, 2013, such and such. Finished. That one. Now, press Control and click. Now, I'm making too many of these. Let me see here. So basically, they're saying is there's no rule saying I can't. So I'm good. Apply that thinking to anything and you wind up being corrupt. You should try to be right regardless of whether someone's going to come after you about it. But anyway, what just happened? Hey, what are you doing? I'll make a new line. Hey, stop doing that. Hey, I said stop doing that. Let's show me how it's done. Okay, forget it. A Jones A backspace Jones. Okay. Now 2010 and why juries must agree. Okay, that was weird. Save. Okay, let me close all these. Oh, except for this one. Close, close, close. And close. Oh, but if I do that, then it'll surely jump on that one. Oh, wait a minute. Where am I? 20. That's not much time. Wow. I didn't realize I've been doing it for so long. Well, that's 20 minutes and I'm at the ending point, so it doesn't matter. Let me see here. Yes, the wallpaper is changing on its own. I'll change it on purpose. Oh, same one. It's random, so that's a little surprising. That's the original version of WebShots desktop, by the way, which is still gettable. They have a newer one, but I like that one better myself. Okay. This I'll have to reference to book in general. Juvenile Justice Source Book. I don't like ands. Why can it be an or? But it's an and. Two different people. Wow, three different people. I really don't like that. I think I'll just pick one. No, I can't do that. W, why is it not doing that now? Did it with, oh, I get it. Because A is the first letter, it assumed that I was trying to do that. That's what that was about. This was. It thought I was going to do A, then B, then C. W. Okay. W Church. D Springer. A Roberts. What year is it? Is it the real year? Well, they couldn't do it into the future, right? Oh yeah, that's right. And it is 2014. So it would have been an older year. But no, that's true. That doesn't actually answer that. They actually could have more than 1 year. I wish it would state it plainly, published in such and such. But it doesn't. Oh, here we go. I'll go by that since they don't disagree. This should definitely be done more particular than that, though. But it is good enough for now. Yes, I know. That was a horrible thing to say. And I guess I'm sorry I spit that out. But you guess, you know what? It's also true. The teacher can tell me, nope, use a different, gotta fix that. And I'll be like, oh, okay. Why? Because this is not actually being turned in. This is being turned in so that he could look at it, review it, and tell me there's something wrong. And then I can go at it again and then do the amount that actually will be turned in. I mean, this is being turned in. It does count for points. But, what? Open, it counts for points, but it's not. This is like intended to be a rough draft. It's not intended to be a revised thing. Some files can contain, no, just open it. I guess I should have picked something else. It's going to be griping like that. But I'm good. This is fine with that, I mean. Where are we at? Here's Department of Justice programs. I'm looking for a date. Bureau of Justice Assistance. They don't have a person's name on here. They don't say names. Man, a very thankless thing. Or do they? Wait a minute. 2004 President of the National Assessment, James so-and-so, Clay so-and-so, and Marie so-and-so. Good. I spoke too soon. I was wrong. Glad to admit it. October 2000. You're kidding me. It's that old? 2000. 14 years ago. Wow, so anyone born that year can be convicted as an adult. Funny. They just suddenly become adults. Or they be like, well, can I smoke now? No. Oh. Can I date that one now? No. Oh. Well, can I do something else? I would say drink, but that age is beyond the official adult age already. That would be a new thing. Community Resource Center, 1980, 2000. Is anything in the future of 2000? That would make me be like, wait a minute. No. Okay. So, I'll take that year. Since there are no wait a minutes involved, that year is fine. But now I'm trying to figure out what year was it. Oh, okay. Was it 2000 or 2001? Okay. Names. I want names. I'm going to be taking names on this one. They are J. Austin. ND. K. Johnson. Some of my relatives have that name. But I need a dot in this K. Johnson. M. Regorio? I don't know. 2000. No, just 2000. Now, I still call it child abuse. Well, that's me. Or is it? An adult. If anything happens to there, the whole thing is actually technically subject. I mean, as far as reality, not as far as what someone might do. To child abuse. The whole court system, the whole justice system, rather. I wonder what would happen if someone actually tried that. They're just still children. Don't care what they did. Yes, wanting to punish, etc. But it didn't stop being children. Oops. That one was right. Now, that's everything backwards, right? All those, what is your problem? Oh, I didn't put a dot. And it had a problem with that. No, it's not Gregorian. It's someone's name. Grumbles. Just tack the grumbles in right there. Let's see. Someone's name, I would say accepted. Ignore, add to dictionary. But it's something I don't expect to see again. Plus, I like to see what the teacher will see. So I tend to not do that at all. Now, Austin K. J. That's everything here. It's done. Not done. Perception of so-and-so, etc. I could just go by the blue, come to think of it. Perception, Susan so-and-so, Claudia so-and-so, that one, and you've got to be kidding me. Why is this listing so long and it's so little? You know, I'm just going to copy and paste. It would have been nice. Let me see here. Just going to copy and paste that. And what year is it? So I'm going to change that part. With the first names. But I'm starting it like this. What year is it? Volume 1, number 113. Yeah. 2013. 2013. Should be putting who they're with or whatever. But in this case, wait a minute. In this case, I might. No. Let me take care of this first. Anyway. John Christopher D. Amada. It's all just one person. That's the one that got me to just go by that. See, I only have one name, first and last. Now that's it. To me, this actually looks a little strange. All these long names. But I understand it. It's so common to have a middle name. I'm like, where's mine? Well, I'm a junior, so that's just going to be that way. Okay, perceptions. I totally don't like that. I wonder if the teacher's going to be like that too. Could I just pick one of them? Anyway, I've never had a reference that long before. Ohio's taxes. Okay, this is one state in particular. Brief text, 2011 edition. And that's the name of it, Ohio's taxes. Prepared by the tax investigation. Ooh, I don't like that. The tax commissioner. It was done by his office. That's the only name I've got. This is probably just flat wrong. I guess I could do it like that. That should fly. At least. Maybe not very well. But it should fly. Joseph, no, not Joseph, J. Ohio. Sure, this is the only one that has it. Now, why don't you have it on the other ones? Tax Commissioner, 2011. Now. Right. Ohio's taxes. Okay. Well, in conclusion, okay, that is the way I did this. There's no telling how well or how bad it will be. I put the reference page, but I haven't put an opening page. Let's see. Control Enter. What? What's that? Thought I only pressed it once, but apparently I pressed it twice. What? Wait a minute. Oh, okay, that's right. Oh, ready? Somewhere in the middle. And the rest of that is going to be done later. For now, I have finished. Wait a minute. It's blue, but I've already done it. Okay, there's the reference. There's the body. I didn't put an opening statement. But I think because of the structure of this particular thing, it isn't required. Let's see. These are the final paper. That is not much of an opening, but I don't think there really needs to be one. I chose because they attention. And that's like a good C. No. It's at least something. It kind of gives it a flow of thought to it. But with that, I should probably put a concluder. Which decide on, not sure which one I'm going to decide to use, but I am leaning strongly in the childhood conviction direction. This is because I truly see it as a form of justice. Doesn't change, regardless of what they may have done. It doesn't change the fact that they are or were at the time only 17 or 12 years old. Yep, doesn't change that. If it does, then also allow them to smoke as well as other things. Adding a different consideration for children than adults. And I need to stop thinking about spelling for now. Think about that on its own time. Clearly that was a U, but I need to flow with it, to think with it. It'd be a lot easier if I could type a little faster. What? When did that happen? Okay. Now, it's a final check.
These are the subjects I am considering for my final paper. I chose these because they are the ones which catch my attention for various reasons when I first looked at them. Topic 9 is as follows.
See, I messed up right there. Didn't hear that before. The ones which caught my attention. Yep. Oh, that is totally off. Crotch. Let me see here. Just the beginning, so I'll
These
start
are
over.
the subjects I am considering for my final paper. I chose these because they are the ones which caught my attention, for various reasons, when I first looked at them. Topic 9 is as follows. Should taxes on alcohol and tobacco be increased to help pay for rising medical costs? My reason is that it interested me because, to some extent, these practices are a major part of this rate of increase in medical bills. People with hazardous driving practices which result in collision are required to pay more for car insurance. In this case, the audience would be the people who smoke. I am not trying to convince them to pay more in taxes.
Okay, I'll stop there because I'm running out of time and I don't want to push myself further back on what I was doing there. And all I was going to do was hear that out and say whether it made a good degree of sense or not. And that would be that. So, bringing this to conclusion, this was me making my first one from beginning to end, not including this, the intro, the cover page. Okay, so I'm calling it quits on this now so that I don't lose it. No, I would still have it. It would just stop at an unknown time. Time is ticking and I am done.